Someone shared a video with me today of Jagmeet Singh in House of Commons. He was making a speech about how the various indigenous people and people of color have been brutalized and killed across the country, across the world by the RCMP. And he used these scattered incidents to suggest, no, you know what, he didn't suggest. He outright asserted that this was proof that there's systemic racism in the RCMP. That's the level of proof he needs for that kind of assertion. It's a big assertion to state that one of Canada's primary law enforcement institutions is inherently racist. But he didn't need that much proof because he was quite sure of his position. And in this viral video, Singh said that he put forward a motion to suggest that this was the truth, and the first step is really acknowledging that this is the truth. RCMP is systemically racist, and we should all be able to agree on that, despite the fact that that might not be enough proof for most people. For example, I'll be an example because I happen to fit into this nicely. If you tell me that something is systemically racist, if you say an institution is systemically racist, I want to see the systemic racist part. I want to see the actual policy. I want to see where it's written in the letter of the law. I want to see a memo. I want to see something where you can tell me that this organization is racist because they police in this particular way. Show me a rule. Show me a law. Show me a leadership structure. Show me a strong correlation, a strong pattern of events, causation. Show me something. Show me some concrete proof that there's systemic racism, and guess what? Everyone will be on board for you changing that. Everyone will be on board for you changing that. But the reality is that simply asserting something is true and pointing to a couple of isolated incidents totally taken out of context is not proof of a system-wide racial bias. And frankly, that's kind of a disgusting assertion to make. You want to call an entire branch of Canadian law enforcement racist, an entire branch of law enforcement racist, because of a few scattered incidents and because you just have a strong gut feeling about it? That is a pretty gross assertion to make. Imagine living in a country where we could just easily make that assertion, and because we make that assertion, it's just true. Imagine that. Anyways, it doesn't stop there, because part of this motion that Singh was also trying to file was to suggest a groundbreaking measure that should unify all of us, that the RCMP and law enforcement should focus on de-escalation in their interactions with civilians and when detaining people. They should focus on de-escalation, because I think the RCMP mandate up to this point is basically go into every situation with max force. I think, right? Isn't it max force? Max deadly force in every situation right off the bat? You're pulling someone over for a license plate sticker and it's just immediately you get the AK out or something like that, right? That's what we're supposed to do? Come on. This is a joke. This is a joke. That is already part of law enforcement. Sure, there are going to be some scattered incidents where there's a use of force that's excessive or inappropriate. Of course there is. And especially when you take things out of context, it's going to appear that way. But I think it's safe to say that in the vast majority of altercations or interactions with police or with RCMP is trying to de-escalate before they go in guns blazing and brutalizing people, as Singh would like to have you believe. So without any proof beyond a strong assertion, and without any actual action that's going to make any difference at all for Canada in any meaningful way, even if there was a systemic bias, Singh had his motion shut down. And he had it shut down because the Bloc MP rightly pointed out that there's already an investigation going on into if there's systemic bias in the RCMP. There's an investigation going on. So because there's an investigation going on, that means that we need to wait for the outcome of the investigation to determine whether or not there's systemic racism. We can't just simply assert it like Singh would like to do. Just assert it and that makes it true. We need to wait for the outcome of the investigation. Imagine that. It almost sounds like the way that law works, right? So you, it's a fun time to be alive. Like if you're sitting back and watching this stuff, it's better than it's stranger than fiction. So Singh then takes that Bloc MP's reaction, his refusal to uphold the motion, as racist, and he just straight up calls the Bloc MP racist. It's astounding stuff. And as Singh is relating this in a video afterwards, he starts crying. He gets really emotional. I got mad, he said. I got really mad, and then I got really sad. And he's choking back tears as he's doing it. He's blubbering. This is why someone shared this video with me, because he blubbered, and they think that that makes him somehow a reputable voice on this issue. I'm going to tell you a different perspective. My perspective is that any leader in any capacity that's emotionally corrupted, emotionally manipulated, emotionally manipulative, or in some other way emotionally affected is not a good leader. They're not a good leader in anything. An emotional leader for your softball team is not a good leader. An emotional leader for a party, a national party in Canada, that's a problem. And the bigger problem than that, because that's just anyone watching that video and watching him choking back these crocodile tears is going to see right through it. They're going to see how fake this is. They're going to see how contrived it is. I don't think anyone actually watches that and thinks, oh, Singh, he really cares so much that he just can't hold back the tears here. Most logical people are going to see that. The bigger problem than Singh putting on this theatrical display is that there are going to be people that will believe that he's genuine and believe that because he's crying in this genuine way, because he's so emotional, because he's outraged, that makes him right. And that is everything that's wrong with our current political situation. And now it's bleeding into our culture and into our social situation. And we need to argue back against that. When people share these stupid videos, when people support our politicians blubbering and crying and putting on a performative display of emotion, as though this is some kind of moral high ground or some kind of virtue signal that we're all supposed to respect and admire, we need to dump on that. We need to point it out. We need to mock it for how stupid it is. And anyone that suggests that our leaders need to be emotional, blubbering messes, and that when they don't get their ridiculous motions passed, which are pure, the whole motion is pure virtue signaling in the first place. When that motion doesn't get passed, the right response is to cry about it. We need a better standard of leaders in this country. We need a better standard of leader across the entire globe, as far as I understand it. But we certainly need a better standard of leader in Canada. And of course, our buddy JT, Prime Minister Trudeau, has opened the door to all of this with his own theatrics. But that's a story for another video. Anyways, if you see this video going around, if you see people praising Jagmeet Singh for this, just shut it down. Call it out, because we have to call this stuff out. If critical thinking people, if logical people don't start calling this stuff out for what it is, we're only going to see more and more of it. And eventually the people in the middle are going to start thinking that this is an appropriate way to act, an appropriate way to make our decisions. And we cannot allow that to happen. This is a joke, and it should certainly not be happening at the highest levels of leadership in this country, let alone interpersonal interactions between you and your buddies. So if you see it, shut it down, call it out. You know what? Don't even be confrontational about it. Laugh about it. Mock it. It's funny. It is really funny. And if people want to support that, it's easy enough to laugh at and mock them for that too. And I think we should approach all of this with a certain comedic spirit, because there's comedy in all of it. And maybe laughter is the best way to convince these people that this is not the right way to go. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys again soon. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this content, and let me know what you think below.